Welcome to today's episode on calculating your borrowing capacity as an Australian expat looking to purchase property back home. We'll be exploring this topic in depth, arming you with insider knowledge to unlock your true borrowing potential. Buying property in Australia can seem complex when you're overseas, but having a clear handle on your financing options is key. I'll explain what goes into formulating your borrowing power, from net income calculations to bank assessment practices. You'll discover strategies to potentially increase your loan amount within responsible limits. Whether you're a first-time investor or looking to expand your portfolio, you'll gain the clarity needed to make informed borrowing decisions. My goal is to ensure you can maximise your borrowing ability as an expat and turn your Australian property dreams into reality. Let's get started. Today, we're going to tackle the question on many aspiring property owners' minds. How much can I actually borrow? It's a question that brings uncertainty for many. But don't worry, we'll break down the borrowing power calculation process. We'll look at factors like income, expenses, credit history, and age that influence the magic borrowing number. I'll share tips on how you may be able to responsibly increase your capacity. Get ready to dive into the world of borrowing power. I'll equip you with knowledge to confidently navigate your path to ownership. Let's get started. Understanding borrowing power principles like net surplus income, NSI, is key. NSI is your total net income, including salary, rental income, and more, minus ongoing liabilities like loans and living expenses. This leaves your surplus income amount that could contribute to mortgage repayments. Let's look at an example. Say your gross monthly income is $7,500. After tax, your net monthly income is $5,300. With no loans and $2,000 in monthly expenses, your NSI would be $3,300. This could support a loan of around $600,000. However, the bank may calculate differently than you. It's wise to double-check their assessment criteria before assuming your borrowing power. Doing your homework is key to making informed decisions. So, you're looking to get a loan from the bank, huh? Well, here's something you need to know. The bank can be quite strict when it comes to assessing your income. They don't play around. In fact, they often assume the worst-case scenario. So, let me give you the lowdown on 7 common factors that the bank considers while accessing your income. First up, credit cards. Even if you don't use them, the bank will still apply a whopping 46% interest rate based on the maximum limit. Ouch! Next, we have new and existing loans. Brace yourself, because the bank calculates your repayments at a higher rate to account for future rate increases. That means your yearly repayment will go up in the stress test. Don't forget about rental expenses if you're renting with another person. The bank assumes that the other person on the lease won't pay up, so they double the yearly rent expense. Talk about being cautious. Oh, and if you happen to be living rent-free, don't think you're off the hook. The bank will still assume you're paying a nominal boarding fee. They've got their bases covered. Your living expenses also come into play. The bank will dig through your bank statements and credit card transactions to calculate your yearly living expense. They want to get a clear picture of what you're spending on. Next, let's talk about rental income. The bank takes into account things like property management, investment property costs, and ownership share, which can actually reduce your yearly rent income. It's a bummer, I know. Last but not least, we have salary income. Banks often discount foreign currency income by 20 to 40% and factor in Australian income tax rates, even if your effective tax rate is lower than Australia. It's all part of their meticulous process. Now, I know this might come as quite a shock, especially if you're a high earner. The bank's assessment can really bring down your borrowing capacity. But fear not, we've got your back. Luckily, there are 3 key ways in which you can give yourself a significant boost. First up, let's talk about credit cards. You want to carefully choose the cards you want to keep and get rid of the rest. Having too many credit cards can actually hurt your borrowing power. And don't forget to reduce your credit limit. Doing so will show lenders that you have a better handle on your finances, which can increase your borrowing capacity. Next, it's essential to understand the Household Expenditure Measure, GM. This measure helps the bank analyse your monthly living expenses. Create a budget plan to reduce your living expenses by cutting back on unnecessary costs. You'll be able to show lenders that you're financially responsible and thus boost your borrowing power. Lastly, choosing the right lender is crucial, especially if you're an Australian expat or a foreign national. Different lenders have different ways of calculating your income. So, do your research and find a lender that takes your situation into account in the most favourable way possible. Now, let's dive into 2 scenarios to see how these strategies can impact your borrowing power. In the base scenario, with a standard bank that discounts foreign income, your maximum borrowing capacity might be around $450,000. But in the enhanced scenario, with an expat-friendly bank, reduced credit card limits, switched to principal and interest or P&I repayments, and lower monthly living expenses, your borrowing capacity might skyrocket to approximately $1,800,000. So, as you can see, by making some smart adjustments, you can indeed quadruple your borrowing capacity. It's all about taking control of your finances and making strategic choices. Now here's the deal. When it comes to borrowing money, there are a couple of important factors to consider. First off, it's crucial to remember that the amount you can borrow and the amount you should borrow are not always the same thing. Before jumping headfirst into a mortgage, take a long, hard look at your financial situation. Assess your income, expenses, and any existing debt. This will give you a clear understanding of your ability to pay off a mortgage without putting yourself in a financial bind. But hang on, there's more. It's not just about mortgage repayments. You also need to save for emergencies, those unexpected curveballs life throws our way. Trust me, having a savings cushion will provide some well-deserved peace of mind. Feeling overwhelmed? Don't fret, because Odin Mortgage has got your back. We're here to assist you every step of the way. Whether you're scratching your head trying to figure out how much you can realistically borrow or needing guidance on finding that sweet spot between what's available and what's responsible, we've got the expertise to help you navigate the mortgage maze. So, remember folks, it's not just about how much you can borrow, it's about how much you should borrow. Assess your financial situation, consider your mortgage repayment ability, and don't forget to save for that rainy day. And when in doubt, turn to the trusted folks at Odin Mortgage for expert guidance. That concludes our deep dive into calculating borrowing power. I hope this has equipped you with knowledge to unlock your borrowing potential within responsible limits and turn your property dreams into reality. Remember to subscribe to stay updated on future episodes. Feel free to reach out with any questions. We're happy to provide clarity to help you navigate your expat mortgage journey. Thanks for listening and happy house hunting.